Every single day is an opportunity for you to start anew. I call this my 24-hour reset button. Each new day stands alone and brings you another chance to move towards your goals. So make each day a great day. A very pleasant morning to everyone. Life is a one time offer. Use it well. We have stepped into another week, and the week begins with Monday. So I wish you all a very happy Monday. But when you think of Monday, you look at the image that is presented before you. Everybody hates me. Everybody hates Monday. And we call it Monday morning blues and morning blues. These are the idioms which are used in English to express some deeper insight. The reason behind why people call a Monday a lazy day. When we use the idioms Monday morning blues and morning blues, blue here refers to the lack of joy, laziness, tiredness, stress, etc. Monday morning blues is the feeling that comes to us as the weekend has passed by and it is time to resume the work again. So Monday is the universal start of weekday in all countries across the globe except for the GCC countries. Morning blues is a feeling which can come on any random day, not only due to work but also due to some other reasons. So never confuse yourself with Monday morning blues and morning blues, as there are a lot of differences between the two idioms. I'm sure none of you have Monday morning blues or morning blues. We shall begin the day with lot of joy, happiness, enthusiasm and commitment to learn and to do our best throughout this week. After a good night of sleep and rest, as we start another day, our minds are fresh. Whatever you read, whatever you listen, whatever you study gets deeply impressed. So let us try to impress our minds with something very positive that can carry and direct our thinking, our thought pattern throughout this day. Let us feed it with the food for thought. Let me read the thought for you. Life is what you make it. Life is what you make it. What does this particular food for thought mean? Life has got a bundle of surprises. It keeps unbundling its surprises day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute. And we have a responsibility and we have the ultimate responsibility of what you make of the life that is given to you as a gift from God. Let me explain to you with a very recent experience of mine while traveling from Bangalore to Guwahati. It was 25th of August. I had to travel from a closer town to the airport in Bangalore. I had planned my travel and I knew that it takes approximately 1.5 hours to reach the airport, and I was supposed to report 2 hours prior to the departure. So one of my priest friend drew me from the nearby town and we started at 3:30 a.m. in the morning, and my flight was scheduled at 7. We had loaded the car with my luggages and baggages, and then we started moving. But after some time, we began to hear some sort of noise, and we were discussing probably there was a big pit which the car must have hit the bottom, because of which there could be some slight body parts of the car maybe got loose, and because of which certain noise or disturbance might be coming. But we decided to stop the car when we reached a Pakka road. When we reached a good road, we stopped the vehicle, and when I opened the door to see, it was so unfortunate. I could see the tire punctured. It was 4:15 in the morning. I have to board the flight at 7, and I have to report at 5 o'clock. I had no other option. I was totally confused. I have to make a decision at that moment. Immediately I told the fellow priest to call another priest from the same town, and to our luck he woke up, and then he took another car and began to come on the same track, and it took about 45 minutes for him to reach, and he reached the spot at 5:30, and still we had another 40 kilometers to reach the airport. And he drove as fast as he could, but they could just reach me to the Bangalore International Airport only at 6:20. With all my baggages, I rushed inside and went to the check-in counter, and when I showed my boarding pass, they said, "Sir, you cannot board the flight." And I made a request citing the experience that I had all through the travel about the little mishap. But they said they will just contact the captain, and when they contacted, the captain has already signed in, and therefore they said no passenger can board the flight. Now imagine I have to reach Guwahati, and I have informed everyone, my superiors, I have told the manager, the new manager of the school, and everyone will be expecting me to reach. And I had a flight from Bangalore to Delhi and Delhi to Guwahati, and I had a connecting flight from Delhi after 5 hours of layover, waiting time. So I had to make a quick decision, either to take another flight and catch the connecting flight at Delhi. I was totally confused. I went from pillar to post inside the airport with my baggage, and at the end I had to make a decision that I purchase another ticket through a new airlines, Indigo. I had booked by Air India, but because of this incident I had to look for an alternative. So I made a decision to hand over 2 of my luggages to my priest friend, and I told him, "I will tell you what to do," and I sent him back. Got in, I opened my wallet. I had just 6,000 to 6,500 rupees in my hand. I went and purchased a fresh ticket for Indigo, which was scheduled at 8:45. And by the time I finished all the security check, etc., I hardly had just 10 minutes to have a cup of coffee. And when I saw my wallet, I had just 300 rupees left. I had to make decisions in order to move on. Life is what you make it. If I had to blame that particular car or the driver for that particular mishap, I would have missed the journey, and it would have disturbed the whole rhythm. People would have got disturbed, expecting me and not able to reach. But I had to make a decision, and I said, okay, it's nothing. It happens to everyone, but let me look for the next decision. Let me do something to move on. And I was able to reach this place exactly as scheduled on 25th evening at 5:30. Life is what you make it, and what you make it consists of decisions which you need to make prudently. And therefore, in your journey of life, you may have to make a lot of decisions. Don't blame people, take responsibility for the decision. It is your decision is going to be responsible for the life that you are going to construct. I repeat, life is what you make it, not others, not your parents, not the principal, not the teachers. At the beginning of a new week, it is good to listen to certain important news that is going on because of this COVID-19 pandemic. And I'm sure by now, as students of class 10, you know that Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, the government of India, has got various ministries, and this Ministry of Health and Family Welfare is responsible for coordinating all the efforts to curb the spread of this COVID-19 pandemic. And you can look at this particular image, and you have your Education and Finance Minister, Hemanta Biswa Sarma. And he has been making lot of efforts to see that Assam is safe. And he is very prompt in visiting patients, hospitals, and he keeps updating the entire country, entire state regarding the situation of pandemic. But unfortunately, he, in one of the recent media reports, he seems to have aired an opinion saying people of Guwahati are callous, very careless, and because of which he says, I don't know what is going to be the situation of Guwahati, the way the COVID-19 pandemic is spreading, because already Assam has got over 130,000 cases reported. And therefore, Guwahati High Court has come up with a strong decision. The decision is as follows. It says there are two important things that is to be followed by every citizen of the country at this moment of pandemic. The first thing is, whenever you move out of your houses, you are requested to wear mask. You have to cover your nose, mouth with the mask. It could be 2-layered or 3-layered as it is possible for you to purchase, and you are not supposed to move out without a mask. And secondly, when you go into public places, you are supposed to maintain social distancing. And the Guwahati High Court, taking into consideration the effort made and being made by the present Education and Finance Minister of Assam, Hemanta Biswa Sarma, has declared that people who do not wear mask in public, people who fail to maintain social distancing, are liable for legal penalty. And what will be the penalty? You may have to end up paying 500 or 1,000 or 2,000 as per your mistake. For not wearing mask, you may have to pay 500, and if you don't keep social distancing in public places, you may have to end up paying 2,000 rupees. So therefore, Guwahati High Court has come up with this particular stringent penalty in order to curb the pandemic. And therefore, I request you at this moment, please, whenever you step out, wear mask, and whenever you have to go to a public place, see that you maintain social distancing. Keep washing your hands frequently. When you go out, carry sanitizers, and see that frequently you apply sanitizer and keep your hands away from the contamination or germs. So ultimately, stay home, stay safe. At the start of a new day, let's invoke God's blessing so that we may be given wisdom, grace to learn, to study, and to be safe all through this day. Kindly close your eyes and join me in this prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Having completed the first story from the supplementary reader, we shall move on to the second story. And the title of the second story is The Thief's Story. And this particular story has an author, a writer. So we shall meet the author first. Please look at the photograph of the author. Can anyone guess the author? A person in his ripened age. He is an Indian author of British descent. It's good to know the author before we understand the particular story. So the author of this story, The Thief's Story, is Ruskin Bond. Ruskin Bond is an Indian author of British descent. That means he has got a connection. He has got roots. He has got roots in England or the UK. He lives with his adopted family in Landua, Mussoorie, in India, which is a hill station. The Indian Council for Child Education has recognized his role in the growth of children's literature in India. He was born on 19th May 1934 and he is 86 years old now in a place called Kasuli, and he is an Indian, and he has also contributed a number of things for movies and TV shows, namely Seven Coon Mav, The Blue Umbrella, The Black Cat, Janoon, Ek Tarasti Part 2, and he has also won the prestigious awards of India, namely Padma Bhushan, Padma Shri, and his parents were Aubrey Bond and Edith Clark. And to his credit, he has written a number of stories. You can have a look at them. Just to read some of them for you: The Blue Umbrella, Bond, The Hidden Pool, Time Stops at Shamli, Children's Omnibus, Looking for the Rainbow, The Perfect Murder, Tigers for Dinner, and so on. So he has written a number of books, and that shows the type of writer that he is. And he is very specialized in writing stories for children, and that's the reason why the Indian Council for Child Education recognizes his role in the growth of children's literature in India. So having understood, we shall move on to the next part of the story. Every story has got a plot. So we shall now first understand the plot of the story. The plot of the story titled The Thief's Story. Young boy makes friends with Anil. Anil trusts him completely and employs him. Does the boy betray his trust? The story is about 15-year-old thief who changes his name every month to stay ahead of the police and old employers. This time he kept his name Hari Singh. The other person in the story is 25-year-old writer named Anil. The thief meets Anil and asks him if he can work for him. The story unfolds on how the thief betrays Anil by committing a theft but retracts later on. And this is the plot of the story. Having listened to the plot of the story proper, let me present to you the summary, which will give you an overall understanding of the story itself. The story is about two different people. One is a thief of 15 years of age, and the other is a man of approximately 25 years watching a wrestling match somewhere. The name of the person watching the match is Anil. The thief approaches Anil and starts talking to him because he feels that he had not robbed anyone in the past few days and thought it would be easy to rob a simple person like Anil. They both start talking and Anil asks the thief his name. The thief introduces himself as Hari Singh. This is not his real name, as he changes his name every month to escape his ex-employers or police. Then they started talking about the wrestlers, and Anil was leaving when Hari called him again and asked him if he could work for Anil. Anil said that he won't be able to pay him, but could feed him if he knew how to cook. Hari lied that he knew how to cook. Anil took Hari to his room, which was above a sweet shop. Hari cooked a meal which was really bad because Anil did not eat it. Anil asked Hari to leave, but he tried to please Anil. Hari smiled in his most attractive way, and Anil could not stop laughing, looking at him. Anil agreed to teach Hari how to cook, write full sentences and add numbers. Hari was grateful as he knew that there would be no limit to robbing people once he learned how to read and write. The narrator used to like working for Anil, as he used to make him tea in the morning and then go out to buy the groceries for the day. He also used to steal 1 rupee from the money that was given to him to buy the groceries every day. Anil knew that he used to steal but did not mind. Anil used to make money by irregular works. Sometimes he used to borrow money, and the other day when he had money, he would be lending it to other people. When he would go out with his friends to celebrate. One day, Anil came in with a bundle of notes and told Harry that he had sold a book to a publisher. At night, he kept the money safely under the mattress of his bed. Harry realized that he had been working for Anil for more than a month and had not stolen anything apart from the 1 rupee that he kept every day from the grocery money. Harry had many chances to steal as he had the key to the room as well. But he was surprised with the amount of trust Anil had on him, as he had never seen such a trusting person in his life. This trusting was preventing him from robbing Anil, as Harry thought that robbing a careless person like Anil didn't make much difference because he might even notice that he had been robbed, and that took out all the fun from the work. Then he thought of stealing Anil's money and justified himself that if he didn't steal money from Anil, then also he would waste it on his friends. And another reason is Anil didn't pay him for the work that he did. Harry then woke up at night and quietly crawled to Anil's bed. He steals the money and decides to leave the city by Lucknow Express that departed at 10:30. When he reached the station, the train had slowly started moving from the platform. He could have easily caught the train, but he hesitated and he himself did not know the reason for it. Before he had reached the station, he counted the money and it was 600 rupees in 50 rupee notes. He could live a lavish life for 2-3 weeks with so much money. After the train had left, Harry was all alone at the train station. He was left with no place to sleep at night. The only person he knew was Anil, and he had looted him as well. He sat on a bench in a park, and as it started to rain, he sat down under the clock tower. Then he realized that the notes had got wet. He realized that learning how to read and write would help him to get a much more respectable and honest job, which would pay him much more than these few 100 rupees. Then he decided to go back to Anil's house. He reached the house and placed the money back. Next morning he woke up a bit late and Anil had already made his tea. Anil gave a 50 rupee note to Harry as he had got paid for some work, and he would be paid regularly. Harry took the note in his hand and realized that the notes were still wet from the rain last night. Harry realized that Anil had come to know about his misdeed, but there was no sadness, anger, or guilt in his mind. The narrator smiled in a beautiful way, and it was a genuine happiness as he knew that he had saved himself from the wrong road. Now we shall move on to the text proper. As I told you in the first story from the supplementary reader, I won't be reading the text. You can read it by yourself. Kindly take page number 1 of the story. And let me pick up certain difficult words, give their meaning, and after which explain the meaning of the text. Lean means thin. Flattery means excessive and insincere praise. Modestly means in an unassuming manner, without vanity or arrogance. Employers means a person or organization that employs people. Grunting means making a low, short, guttural sound. Appealing means attractive or interesting. So let me explain the meaning of page number 1. The story starts from the point where the two main characters of the story meet, Anil and the thief. The thief is a narrator of the story. The thief says that according to him, he was pretty good at stealing. Anil was watching a wrestling match when the thief approached him. Anil was tall, lean, and an easygoing man of 25. The thief had not committed any theft in the past few days as he didn't get a chance. He thought that Anil would be a good man to steal things from. So he thought about getting comfortable with him. Then the thief commented on Anil that he looks like a wrestler himself. He said that to win his confidence by flattering him. To this, Anil replied that even the thief looked like a wrestler, which offended him as he was very thin at that time. The thief modestly replied that he did wrestle a bit sometimes. Anil asked his name, and the narrator lied that his name was Hari Singh. The narrator used to change his name every month to escape the police and his ex-employers. Then they started talking about the well-oiled wrestlers whom they watched on the screen. The narrator didn't have much to say as he did not know much about wrestling. As Anil was leaving, the narrator again approached him asking him that he wanted to work for him. The narrator approached him with the most appealing smile that he could. Anil told him that he won't be able to pay him for his work. We shall move on to page number 2 and let me pick up certain difficult words for you. Misjudged means form a wrong opinion or conclusion about. Balcony means a platform enclosed by a wall or balustrade on the outside of a building, with access from an upper floor window or door. Terrible means extremely bad or serious. Patted means touch quickly and gently with the flat of the hand. Pleasant means giving a sense of happy satisfaction or enjoyment. Supplies means a stock or amount of something supplied or available for use. So let me explain page number 2. Harry had not expected this reply and thought to himself that he had misjudged Anil, as he had thought that Anil had a lot of money. The narrator then asked if he could feed him, to which Anil instantly asked if Harry could cook. Harry lied again and said yes. Anil replied that if Harry could cook, then he could feed him. Both of them went to Anil's room, which was above the Jumna street stop. Anil also told Harry that he could sleep in the balcony. The narrator said that the meal that he cooked must have been terrible, as Anil had to give it away to a stray dog. Then he told Harry to go and sleep, but Harry decided to stay for a while. Harry's smile was so appealing that Anil could not stop laughing looking at him. After some time, Anil patted on Harry's head and told him that he would teach him to cook. He also told him how to write his name and told him that he would soon teach him to write sentences and add numbers. Harry was grateful for what Anil had planned, as he knew that there would be no limits to his work once he knew how to write. Harry enjoyed working for Anil. He used to make tea for him in the morning and then used to go out to buy groceries for the day. He would also keep 1 rupee in his pocket every day from the money that Anil used to give him for daily groceries. Anil knew that he took a rupee every day, but he didn't mind. He was fine with it. Now we shall move on to page 10, difficult words for you. Fits and starts means not working on something consistently. Borrow means take and use something belonging to someone else with the intention of returning it. Lend means to grant to someone the use of something on the understanding that it will be returned. Queer means strange, odd. Bundle means a collection of things or quantity of material tied or wrapped up together. Tuck means push, fold, or turn the edges or ends of something, especially a garment or bedclothes, so as to hide or secure them. Line of work means the principal activity in your life that you do to earn money. Beam means a ray or shaft of light. Crept slowly and carefully in order to avoid being heard or noticed. Drew means pull or drag. Sighed means emit a long, deep, audible breath expressing sadness, relief, tiredness. Startled means feeling or showing sudden shock or alarm. So let's try to understand the meaning of page number 3. Anil didn't have any regular income as he used to earn money by doing different activities. He did not have any fixed job. The narrator says that Anil used to be worried about his paychecks all the time, but as soon as he would receive a check, he would go out with friends and celebrate. The narrator thinks that he used to write for magazines. The narrator also thinks that it would be a strange way to make money. Then suddenly one evening Anil came home with some money and told Harry that he had just sold a book to a publisher. Before going to bed, Anil put the money under his mattress and Harry saw him putting the money there. Harry thought that he had been working almost a month now and he had not cheated him apart from the 1 rupee that he used to take out daily. The narrator also thinks that he had every chance to steal as Anil had given him the key to his room as well, and he would come and go whenever he wished to do so. Harry had been trusted upon by Harry the most. Harry had not been trusted upon by anyone else in his life. This was the only thing that was stopping Harry from stealing, as Harry thought that it is way easy to rob a greedy man because he has the capability or the money to get robbed as he knows about what he has lost. But for a careless man like Anil, there was no use to steal as they sometimes don't even come to know that they have been robbed. Also, Harry feels that when someone doesn't come to know that he has been robbed, then there is no fun left in robbing him. And Harry decided that he would start with some work. He had not robbed anyone for a long time. He also justified his act of stealing Anil's money by telling himself that if he didn't steal it, then also Anil would waste it on his friends. He also thought that he had a right over the money as Anil didn't even pay him for the work he used to do. Harry started his work when Anil was sleeping. There was a little light over Anil's bed because of the moonlight that was coming in from the window. Harry sat on the floor and planned that if he took the money, he could leave the city by the 10:30 p.m. Lucknow express train. Harry then crawled towards the bed and slipped his hand slowly inside the bed mattress. He looked at Anil, who was sleeping peacefully without a single line on his face, and Harry's face had so many scars on it. He realized that although he was much younger than Anil, he had such a bad appearance due to his wrong thinking. On the other hand, Anil was carefree and thought good for others, because of which he had such a nice face. Harry then took out the notes without making any sound. Anil took a breath in his sleep and turned aside. He was directly facing Harry, which scared him a bit, and Harry quickly left the room. As soon as Harry left the room and was on the road, he started running and had kept the notes in his pyjamas. He had tied it with a string of pyjamas. Then after a while, Harry slowed down and counted the notes. He had 12 notes of 50 rupee each, which made it 600 rupees. Then Harry thought to himself that with this much money, he could live a luxurious life like an Arabian sheikh for at least 2 weeks. Let's now move on to page number 4 and let me pick up certain difficult words for you. Dashed means quickly ran towards something. Carriages means any of the separate sections of a train that carry passengers. Hesitated means pause in indecision before saying or doing something. Deserted means of a place empty of people. Curious means eager to know or learn something. Robbed means take property unlawfully from a person or place by force or threat of force. Bazaar means market. Maidan means a park. Drizzle means light rain falling in very fine drops. Now we shall try to understand the text from page number 4. When Harry reached the station, he straightaway went to the platform without buying a ticket, as he had never bought a ticket in his life. He had always travelled without a ticket. When he reached the platform, the Lucknow Express in which he had to go was just leaving the platform. The train was still slow, so he could have easily jumped and got on one of the carriages. But he didn't do so. There was a bit of hesitation in him. Even he didn't understand why he had that hesitation inside him, and because of that, he could not board the train. After some time, when the train had left, Harry found himself all alone at the empty platform. Harry didn't know where he would spend the night. He didn't have any friends whom he could go, as he used to think that friends were more of a trouble than being helpful. He didn't even want to stay at any of the small hotels, as that would attract attention. He knew only one person very well, and he had robbed him as well. As Harry was walking through the bazaar after leaving the station, he was thinking of his observations as a thief. In a short career span, he had realized that although everybody, from rich to poor, shows different reactions to losing their goods, but Anil would only be a little sad. That too would not be because he lost his money, but because he has lost trust that he had on Harry. He would be sad that he trusted someone so much and the person had betrayed him. Harry was walking when he reached a park. He sat on a bench. As it was the month of November, the night was a bit chilly, and then the drizzle added to the discomfort that Harry was going through. It started raining quite heavily, and Harry's shirt and pajamas stuck to his body. Cold wind was blowing across Harry's face. We shall move on to the final page, page number 5, and let me pick up certain difficult words. Shelter means a place giving temporary protection from bad weather or danger. Clock tower means a tower typically forming part of a church or civic building with a large clock at the top. Midnight means a 12 o'clock at night. Damp means slightly wet. Cinema means a theatre where films are shown for public entertainment. Hurried means done in a hurry, rushed. Undetected means not detected or discovered. Clouded means make or become less clear or transparent. Let's move on to the explanation part of the final page of the story, page number 5. Then Harry went back towards the bazaar and sat under the shelter of the clock tower to escape getting wet. It was 12 o'clock by the clock tower. Harry checked the notes and they were wet. Then again Harry started thinking that it was Anil's money, and if he had not stolen it, Anil would have surely given him 2 to 3 rupees to go for a movie. But now, as he had stolen it, he had it all. Now he won't be able to make tea or do groceries for Anil anymore. Nor would he be able to learn to write whole sentences ever. He had not realized that he would, in the excitement of stealing the money, he knew that if he could learn to read and write, he could earn much more money than these few hundred rupees, and that too honestly. He knew that it was very easy to steal something from someone, but sometimes it was that easy to get caught as well. He knew that if he learned to read and write, he could surely become a big and respected man one day. Then Harry told himself that he should go back if he wanted to learn to read and write, and also if he wanted to be a big man one day. Harry went back to Anil's room and was very nervous because he knew that it was much more difficult to return stolen things without being caught than actually stealing it. Harry went to the hallway and stood there as the moonlight was still falling over the bed. Anil was still asleep. Harry went near the head of the bed and took out the notes. As he was going near the mattress, his hand could feel Anil's breath on his hand. Harry became still for a moment found the edge of the mattress, and finally slipped the notes under it. The next morning, Harry woke up a little late, and Anil had already made the tea by then. Anil extended his hand towards Harry and had a 50 rupee note in his hand. Harry thought he had been caught. Then suddenly Anil explained that he had made some money the day before, so he was giving him 50 rupees. He also said that he would be paying Harry regularly. Harry was really happy, but when he took the note in his hand, he saw that it was still wet from last night. He also told Harry that day he would teach him how to write complete sentences. Harry realized that Anil had come to know that he had stolen money and kept it back. But the great thing that happened was that he didn't let it show on his face or his words. Harry smiled at Anil in his most appealing way, and Anil's smile also came to his face without any effort. So we have come to the end of the story, and having listened to the story, I began explaining to you about the author, about the plot of the story. I gave you a short summary, after which I began to explain to you the entire story page by page by giving you the meaning of difficult words. So it's time to evaluate whether you have paid keen attention to the explanation and to check whether your understanding is right or wrong. And I am placing before you some multiple choice questions, about 12 of them, and you can take time to choose the correct answers, and answers will be supplied to you later on, and you can check your answers. So kindly spend this time to finish the part of the evaluation, and don't take much time. It is just MCQ questions. Just to recap what we have seen, the slides will be played for you, the summary of the story in detail. You can read through as the slide is being played along with the music, and try to rewind in your mind all that we have seen from the beginning of the story to all the details of the story, and try to rewind and see in your mind whether you remember and whether you're able to retain all the details of the story and the sequence of the story. I'm sure you enjoyed the beautiful story of the Indian writer Ruskin Bond with British descent with the title The Thief's Story. Indeed, it was interesting to have two characters, Anil and Harry. And there are a lot of things, practical things that you and I can learn from this a beautifully scripted story. Maybe it is good to take a little time by yourself in silence and put down in your copies, what has the story communicated to you? Did any of the parts of the story, did any of the conversation of the story, did any of the events, the sequence of events in the story touch your heart, touch your life? Did you feel anything while listening to the story? Maybe you can put down in your notebooks, and I will tell you when to submit them. So we have come to the end. We have seen the entire story. So God bless you for your patient listening. Thank you and have a great day.